Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition's Small Business Forum. I'm your host, David Dadekian of Eat, Drink, Rhode Island. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We'd love to have a like and a subscribe and all that down there on the on YouTube, and a rating on the podcast if you're listening on your podcast. That would be much appreciated. And today, our guest is Secretary of State Gregg Amore. He's been Rhode Island Secretary of State for a few years now. And so we're going to talk about what the Secretary's office has for small businesses, what they provide, and all the important documents and things, forms like that you have to make sure you're on top of. So please welcome Rhode Island Secretary of State Gregg Amore.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it having me here.
No, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. I think a lot of people, when they think business, for a state, they think of commerce departments, things of that nature. But the Secretary of State's office obviously is very important for business, especially small businesses here in Rhode Island. Could you just give us a little overview of your position and regarding small businesses?
Sure. So the name Secretary says a lot of it, doesn't it? Right. It's the administrative part of starting and maintaining a business in Rhode Island, but it's also involving record keeping for the state. Of course, all the state's documents and records are held by the Secretary of State, including some of the most famous ones like the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, but also public records. And a bulk of our workforce is in business services. Because that is the most active part of our office, and that division is in the community. That division is working every day with the folks who are on with us today and all over the state with small businesses, making it easier to do the things they have to do to be compliant. And that's really what we're focused on first. But beyond making sure that you have all your forms and documents filled out and that you're compliant and that you're meeting deadlines, we want to make sure that you have the ability to use our office as a resource to connect you to other resources. And we do so in many, many ways. But most importantly, we do so in a way that you receive feedback immediately. If you are coming to our office on West River in Providence, you will be greeted and dealt with in a quick, polite, and expeditious manner. If you are emailing, you'll receive a return email within a business day. If you're calling, the wait time is around a minute. And most of what you can do document-wise is now available to you online. So
Yes,
if you've got a file, or you've got to fill out whatever document it might be for your particular business, we have put just about everything online to make it easier for you to do so. And then we are offering for all of our businesses opportunities to meet with our staff during virtual office hours or sign up for workshops that are associated with those businesses or meet them in the field at many of the gatherings of our business community around the state. So that we can support them in any way possible. And then, we maintain the small business hub so that folks can go in and look at data related to their business, help make decisions either about starting, expanding, or what they may do to improve their businesses. And we're supportive in that way. And I think one of the things that I want to really point out here is that we are the conduit to the other departments in state government who interface with our business community. And because we are so nimble and we are focused on this type of support that I talked about in such an expeditious way, we can make those contacts for businesses as that liaison with taxation, with commerce. And we work closely with all of these. And one of the things that my administration has tried to do is really bring those entities together in a collaborative way to serve all of our businesses. So that's kind of a thumbnail sketch of the business services side of what we do. Of course, we run elections or help run elections with the Board of Elections, and that's kind of what gets most of the attention. But we spend a really, really substantial amount of our time on working with our business community and making sure that when you interact with state government in regard to starting, maintaining, making sure your business is in good standing, that it is a pain-free process. And we want to hear from the business community when it is not, so that we can make improvements.
Yeah, no, you've been very receptive. I think, pointing out the online aspect of it is certainly, just in my time and having a business in Rhode Island, about 15 years now, I've seen the changes, and it is so much easier to, letter of good standing. You can get that online now in seconds, and it used to take a long time, and things like that. It's been really, really great to see the progress. You mentioned compliance. I don't, we're recording this in June, so if you're watching it in June, it's a little late for you, but you should have filed your annual report by now. If you're watching this in the future, you'll know to file your annual report by the deadline, and all that goes through the Secretary of State's office. You mentioned the Declaration of Independence and documents like that, because I guess you can't take the history teacher out of you. We don't normally have this opportunity to ask someone with the background like you have. Do you know why? I know a little bit of a tangent here, but do you know why small business fell under the Secretary's office?
Yeah, I think because the Secretary of State is the record keeper of the state. These are the business records of the state, right? Registration is part of the business record, is part of the overall record of the state. It's interesting, though, in some states, the Secretary of State administers the DMV. In some states, they are not involved in voter registration or administering elections. But I think our portfolio is pretty consistent with most of the secretaries of state around the country. And the other thing I want to point out, Dave, is that our team at the Department of State, especially in the Business Services Division, is really committed to the point where I think the folks know when they interact with them that they are really invested in making sure that we're serving them. Our leadership team over there is really incredible and has been there for some time, and we're trying to make it better and better every day. And I think anybody who's listening to this has seen the improvements to the website, has seen the improvements that we're trying to make every day to make it easier to interact with us. I said I used the term compliance, but the reality is we're trying to be a partner here. We're not trying to be the government entity that comes down on whomever based on what they haven't done. We're trying to support businesses so that they can have a partner in their work.
Yeah, and it certainly is. Like I said, it has shown. I know as part of the coalition, we interact with a lot of small businesses in whole different sizes, from sole proprietorships up to corporations, and obviously there's different taxation levels, things of that nature. Different departments, but to register your business with the sos.ri.gov, which we'll link up down below so people know it, is very simple, very straightforward. You don't have to as a sole prop, but it certainly doesn't. There's no problem with doing it that way. But definitely, if you have an LLC registered, regardless of where it is registered in the country, you need to register that business with the Rhode Island Secretary of State's website.
And then we're also dealing with the apostille process. If you're dealing with businesses overseas. You need to have our state seal on that apostille to make sure that transaction can go through and that partnership can go through. We are the place to go, and let's include nonprofits in that business registration as well, since they are a big part of our business registration list.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and it was nice. I know I spoke to some folks a few years ago when the deadlines and everything got more in sync for nonprofits, and I think that was helpful. It's little things like that. We don't think about sometimes, but I think it's nice to see it get through legislation.
There are enough challenges. And Dave, this because we've known each other for a few years now. I come from a family that owns a multitude of small businesses. There are enough challenges every day. We want to make sure that the administrative challenges do not exist for our small businesses, for all of our businesses, but in particular, those small businesses that have a lot on their plate. They don't need to go through red tape to make sure that they're in compliance. So we want to make sure that that's an easy process. And that's what we think about every day.
No, thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, we had the folks from Commerce on recently, and the new, is there a formal title for it? Is it just called a portal to launch a small business? What tell us about that?
The new version of the business assistant. where we partnered with Commerce, and we thank them. It kind of integrates their tool, Biz Builder, with our existing tool that has existed since 2012, but it has undergone a complete overhaul. It is much more interactive. You really can narrow in on your business and what you want for your business through this tool, and it's referred to as a business wizard, where basically you're creating your portfolio, and the business wizard is responding to you and your specific needs in your area of concern and area of business. And so that's really the biggest difference. It's technology that has improved for sure, but it's our ability to take resources and tie them to your specific business. And it goes as far as identifying resources that may be available for your business, as well as what the municipal regulations may be for your particular business. If you have to deal with any environmental concerns, it does all of those things and focuses it in on you in particular, rather than a general menu that you're sifting through. So we're pleased with it. I think our business community who is using it is pleased with it, and we're happy to work with Commerce on this. And it's an example of our attempt to bring in all of the entities that deal with Rhode Island's business community into one place, so that we're always talking to one another.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like I had mentioned before, I think it's nice to see the technology is, I don't be funny about it, but catching up to the times. I mean, we know state government has tended to somewhat be behind in the technology, but it's certainly catching up. And I'm sure you'll have AI additions to it someday soon.
Yeah, we're already exploring the AI possibilities that can enhance this, and we're engaged now in a complete rehaul of our platform. I think what we'll see over the next 3 or 4 years is a even better, more intuitive, more easily accessible business services platform in Rhode Island.
Excellent. And you've been in office since you were elected 2022. So your next election is next year. Have you already announced? Are you going to seek re-election?
I have announced my intent to seek re-election. Yes.
Excellent. That's great. I know
no official announcement has been made, but I have announced my intent.
Okay. I think it's good to hear. Consistency has been valuable in that office. I think you're term limited as well, like all the executive branch offices. But you'll get hopefully one more term in there. What else do you see going on in your office? A bigger picture for small businesses. We talk about a lot of the changes at the federal level. I know the legislature is dealing with a lot of that right now and looking at the budget for next year. Is there anything in particular in the budget that stood out to you for small businesses?
Yeah, I think consistency from state government is important, and you mentioned consistency in this office is important. And in particular, I think the Speaker of the House has been pretty steadfast in his support for small businesses, as has the governor, and for the entire business community. I think we know that the backbone of Rhode Island's economy is really based in this small business sector. We don't want to ignore our larger businesses, but
of course.
But everything that the General Assembly can do to create consistency and help business owners figure out how to plan is important. And I know that's becoming more difficult on the federal level in regard to tariffs, but I think we can do what we can do here, right? And our input in that is, look, let us serve our business community in a way that is consistent and reliable. And then any chance I get to use the bully pulpit of this office to promote any legislation that will enhance our business environment, we do. We don't have much control about regarding access to capital, but we can be a voice in support of our businesses who are seeking that capital.
Excellent. Yeah, that's extremely important. That's typical, number one issue for most small businesses is access to capital. And Rhode Island is, I think it's struggled over the years, but it's seen some improvement. Some of the commerce programs we've talked about in the past have been good. But you're absolutely right. It's interesting times. That's how I describe it when people talk to me about my world of restaurant business and food. Interesting times is the best way to put it, I think, because it's certainly,
and that's David, this when you look at our business rankings, it almost always comes down to access to capital.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
right.
The people who are starting business in Rhode Island already know the environment around organized labor. They already know the environment around taxes. It's really that access to capital that is incredibly important. When I was in the House of Representatives, and this, I worked on legislation that would create that access for unique businesses. Part of that has been implemented. I think that's something we need to focus on because that really is the sweet spot when you talk to our business leaders and when you talk to business owners, and I do every single day. They inevitably come back to that access to capital that is not necessarily through traditional means. Right.
So you say that do you get to go out and around and visit businesses? I know the secretary. I mean the lieutenant governor does a lot of that with small businesses. What's your day-to-day like?
We do. In fact, I have a grand opening that I'll be attending on Sunday, and anybody that is celebrating an anniversary or an opening or an expansion, you can contact our office if I'm available. We'll show up and support that day and that event and that milestone with a citation, but also with some social media and a little attention to what our businesses are doing. And I'm available to do that. And we have been doing that for 2+ years, and we'll continue to do that. And I try to be at every one of the business functions that happen across our state. And if I'm not there, then our business services team is there. And so, I think the more visible we are as a supporting entity, the better off our business environment is, because it shows that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've certainly run into you at many of these events over the years. It's good to see. It's good to see the support from our executive branch. It's really important to like you said, to amplify and to let people know what's out there. If you show up at an event, it's more likely the television cameras or reporters will show up, and that's a good thing for the small business.
Yeah, we have a few more followers on social media and other places where we can kind of get to people. And then the more people I talk to, the more connections we make. And I know that happens with our business services folks as well. They're having a conversation on a Tuesday with someone who's got some concerns, and they talk to someone on a Thursday, and they say, well, there's a bond there, and then they connect those two folks. And that's kind of how the ecosystem works, and we want to be part of that, and we think we are part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the Rhode Island way. It's good to know a guy. In those terms, it's good to know. Hey, I talked to this person the other day. They need this, and you need this. So connect, and I think that's important. So that's good to hear. So, is there anything else you'd like to touch upon today? Anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
We are about to embark on a year where the World Cup will be arriving in New England, the tournament, and at the same time the semi-quincentennial. The 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So there's a lot of tourism around those two events. Obviously, the World Cup is a major event, and New England plays a major role, and Rhode Island's hotels are booked. But we also have a number of events associated with the RI 250, as it's known, the semi-quincentennial, around the celebration. And that's an opportunity to showcase our business community. Especially in your area,
absolutely.
But certainly hospitality is going to benefit from this. But it's also a way to promote Rhode Island long term, as folks come through here for these two significant events. They're going to be reminded, that's a place I want to go back to, or maybe that's even a place that I may want to start a business. And so we want to make sure we take advantage of this unique period in time where both of these things are coalescing in our backyard, and we play a significant role. We're about to host Ken Burns in October here at the State House in regard to his new documentary on the American Revolution and Rhode Island's key role. And anytime we can bring a national filmmaker in to talk about Rhode Island, that's good for all Rhode Island, including Rhode Island businesses.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. Yeah, no, he's obviously an extremely accomplished person, and that's nice that he's going to be featuring a little bit of Rhode Island in his documentary. That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I think we always do well when we show off who we are.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's absolutely true. I think, like you said, with the World Cup, Gillette's closer to us in many ways. And so we certainly should reap the benefit from that. And it's good to hear you're concentrating on that and working forward on that as well. So thank you. Thanks very much for your time, Gregg. We really appreciate it. We thank you for all the work that you're doing, and we'll certainly be in touch as the coalition continues to move forward.
My pleasure. And we're always open for business, so to speak. To all of your members, please reach out to us with any concerns, ideas, anything you think can enhance the way that we help you.
Thank you. That's Rhode Island Secretary of State, Gregg Amore. Thanks very much. And thank you, as always, for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. And we appreciate all the comments, questions, things of that nature. Sign up at risbc.org. We'll link all that up and below or in the show notes. As always, we appreciate you watching. Take care.